Hi, my dear students. How are you all? I hope you are doing very well. Okay? Okay, good. Yeah. Today we have a new chapter from our course book. Are you ready? Yeah, our new chapter is the eighth lesson, Horsing Around. The chapter was written by James Herriot. So, first of all, let us look about the author of the chapter. Okay, then. James Herriot is the pen name of James Alfred Waite. It was the real name, James Alfred Waite, and James Herriot is the pen name. Therefore, the writers or literature scholars or other rhetoric, they will have a new pen name instead of their real name. Okay, they will be very famous by their pen names, not only with their names, but they will be very famous with their own pen names. Okay, he was a British veterinary surgeon and writer. He was a British veterinary surgeon. That means a doctor who caring the animals. Okay, and writer also. He is best known for a series of books he wrote about his life. The books written about his life was very famous series of books. As a vet in the hills of Yorkshire, which means veterinary doctor in the hills of Yorkshire. It's a place. Okay. Some of his most famous books are All Creatures Great and Small, written in 1978, and Every Living Thing in 1992. Those who knew Harriet best said that he kept a book where he recorded the details of his treatment of animals. The people who knew about Harriet, they will say that he will keep a book all time to record what he gave the treatment for animal. At dinner time, he told them warm, often funny stories to family and friends. He was telling the stories at the dinner time. And he also said that he would write them as stories someday. He also was saying that he will write this whole story one day. Today, his stories are read and enjoyed around the world. Nowadays, his stories and books are one of the most enjoyable work around the world. Okay, yeah. Then our this chapter is about a horse and his experiment with that horse. Okay, yeah. Then shall we go through the chapter? Are you ready? Okay, good. Okay, then the title is Horsing Around. What it means, horsing around, you can see here itself. Behaving in a silly and sometimes noisy way. Whenever we are behaving to someone with a silly or sometimes a very noisy character, so it's called a horsing around. Okay. Okay, then the first one, warm up. Drew an ending to this cartoon. Remember, it must be funny, but it must also make a point about being cruel to animals. There you can see two cartoons. Third one we should have to draw, and it must be the scene of a funny situation, and also we would have a point about being cruel to animal. Okay, then you everybody can draw that in that column or in your notebook. Is it clear? Yeah, then shall we start? Okay, good. I was 17 and I was walking under the arch of Veterinary College into Montrose Street. Yeah, when I was 17 years old age, I was walking. One day I was walking under the arch of the Veterinary College. Arch, the shape. You can see the image. Okay. The Arch of Veterinary College. It is the college where people learn to become animal doctors. He was studying there to be an animal doctor, and it was in Montrose Street. It's a name of the place. I had been a student for 3 days, but it was only now that I felt that I was learning something. I have started my learning or my study here in this college from 3 days only. But now, after 3 days, now I got that, or I feel that I am started studying something or learning something. Studying botany and zoology was alright, but this afternoon had been the real thing. Botany means the study about plants, trees, and like that. Zoology, the study about animals. Okay. Studying botany and zoology was alright. Yeah, it's much enough and it's alright. But this afternoon had been the real thing. But today afternoon was the real study that I want to study. I had just completed my first class in animal husbandry. Today afternoon there was the class about animal husbandry. It means the science of caring for farm animals, the study of how to care the farm animal. Okay, so it was much interested for our little boy. So he was saying that it is the real thing that I learned today. Okay, the subject had been horses. Yeah, in this subject or in this title we are studying about horses. Professor Grant had hung up a life-size picture of a horse. Yeah, our Professor Grant, he has a full-size picture like a chart of a horse, and there was gone over it from nose to tail. The nose part, it may be the front part of horse, into tail, the last part of the horse. So in that picture everything was explained very well, okay, with the image and with the details. Hung up means to just hang on some upper position like board, blackboard or screening board like that. Okay, he had taught us about the withers, the stifle, the hook, the pole. These all are the parts of a horse body. So today the professor had taught us about the withers, the stifle, the hook, the pole of horse, and all the other wonderful horse related terms. And also he studied us wonderful words related with the horse. The words were still spinning in my head. Yeah, the words I learned from his class is still rotating or circling in my head as I walked slowly down the street. Whenever I am walking down the street, these names are circling or rotating in my head. This was what I had come for. Yeah, I am came here to learn this like subjects. I felt as though I really knew about horse now. Now, after learning the terms, I was thinking that I know something very much about the horses. I was whistling as I turned the corner of the hill into busy Newton Road, and I was just making the whistle. I was whistling means I was just making the whistle. Whistle, we are making the loud sound with our mouths. Okay. As I turned the corner of the hill, yeah, when I just turned the road that I was walking in the corner into the hill, sorry, into the busy Newton Road. I just turned from my road into another busy Newton Road, and then I saw it, a horse. Yeah, that time when I turned, I saw a horse there. It was standing between the shafts of a coal cart. Yeah, that horse was standing between the shafts of a coal cart means two wooden poles in front of a cart that carries coal. Hmm? The horse stand between them and it is tied to them. Yeah, you can see the image here. Horse is standing between the two poles of the coal carrier. Okay, and the horse will be tied with that carrier also. Okay, I could hardly believe my luck. I could hardly believe my luck means I cannot believe my luck. Okay. A horse, not just a picture, but a real horse. Yeah. Now I can see a real horse there because I am learned today about the husbandry, animal husbandry of horses. Words from Professor Grant's class floated up into my mind. That time, the words, the learning things that I learned from Professor Grant's class, it was floating, it was flying to my mind that time. I stood on the pavement. Pavement means the road which was made by bricks and like that things. Okay, I was standing there and looked at the animal critically. I began to look at that animal, that horse, critically. That means in a way that shows that the person is thinking about the good and bad aspects of something. I was thinking about the good and bad aspects of that horse. I thought it must be obvious. It may be very clear to every passerby. Passerby means the people who are passing by. So for every people who passing by, that animal may be clear about that I was a true expert. When I am criticizing that animal, then the people who are passing by, they will think or they will understand that I am a true expert on the horses. Okay. I took a few steps up and down. He was just walking in front of that horse up and down. Eyes looking for possible problems, and my eyes were searching there any problem is there. I glanced around at the people hurrying past. I just gave a look around the people who are hurrying past, who are passing in the way with hurry. Nobody seemed to care, not even the horse. Yeah, I understand that no one was caring us or no one was noticing at us, even though the horse is also not looking to me. He was a large one. He was a large horse and he gazed down the street. And the horse is looking seriously on the down on street, moving his hind legs. Hind leg means the legs at back alternately, one by one. After first one side and next other side, in a bored manner, in a situation of bored. I hated to leave him. I hated to avoid him there. I had completed my examination. I just completed my examination about that horse, and it was time. It was the time that I was on my way. That means I am learning about the husbandry, animal husbandry, and now also it was about the horse at my first time, and also I just examined everything that I learned from this horse, but I felt that I should do something before I left. But I think now that I can do something before I am leaving this place. Something to tell the host that I understood his problems. Something means that sometime I can say to the host that I understood what is the problem you facing. I stepped briskly. Briskly means quickly and energetically, very actively. I stepped forward and patted him on the neck. I just became very near to him and patted him on the neck. Pat means to move our hands on something very softly. Quick as a striking snake, when I just patted on the neck of the horse, that time, like a striking snake, that beating snake, the horse moved downwards. This horse moved to down and seized my shoulder and caught my shoulder in his great strong teeth, in between of the strong teeth of the horse. You can see that image. His hand is just locked under the head. Okay. He laid back his ears. He just made his ears into back, rolled his eyes wickedly. He was rolling his eyes wickedly means in a wrong way or immorally way, and pulled me up. He pulled me into him almost off my feet. Almost he was pulling me my feet. I hung there helplessly. Yeah, now I am just hanging there without any help. Suspended like a puppet. Suspended means here hung. I am now just hanging like a puppet. I wriggled and kicked. I just tried to escape from. So I tried to avoid him and I tried to kick him. But the teeth were clamped immovably. The teeth of the horse was clamped. That means held on tightly without letting go. Immovably without letting go. So I am just locked there and I cannot move or I cannot go without escaping from the bit or strike of this horse in the material of my coat. That means this horse was catching or holding tightly on the coat of our boy. Okay, coat means the dress he wears. You can see that image now, how he was locked with the teeth of the horse. Okay, there was no doubt about the interest of the passers by now. I can understand the interest of the people who are passing by, what they want to see now. The sight of a man hanging from a horse mouth brought them to a sudden halt. This image, what is that? A horse is hanging a man in his coat without doing anything, and the people are just discontinuing their movement. That means they are stopped there and looking very curiously what will happen next. A crowd formed with people looking over each other's shoulder and others fighting at the back to see what was going on. Yeah, when people saw this image that a horse is hanging a man in his coat, so it is very curious image there. So every people were standing there to see what will happen. Then a crowd just formed there. Everyone from that crowd, they are fighting to see what is happening there and what will happen next. Okay, others fighting at the back. That means they are fighting with the people in front of or back to see what is going on. A horrified old lady was crying. One of the people, it is a old lady, and she was horrified, very frightened, and she was saying that, "Oh, poor boy, help him, somebody." She was asking to the crowd, the people, to escape him from the horse. Some of the braver characters tried pulling at me, but the horse just hung on tighter. Some of the brave people from that crowd, they were trying to pulling at me. They were pulling me from the mouth of the horse, but the horse has caught me very tightly with deep shame. Then I was just feeling the shame because everyone are looking at me. I saw two pretty girls in front of the row giggling helplessly. Two girls from the front row of that crowd, they were giggling. Giggling is just smiling with mocking somebody. Helplessly. They were giggling, looking at me because I am feeling helpless. Okay. I hope it is very clear, yeah? Okay, then next. I began to thrash about wildly. I began to beat with a loud voice on the ground. My shirt collar tightened round my throat. Yeah, the horse was catching at my coat and it is very tight. So, my shirt collar was tightened around my neck, my throat, and a stream of the horse's saliva trickled down. Saliva, you know, the water coming from the mouth of animal, yeah. It was trickling, that means dripping or flowing down the front of my shirt. Yeah, it was coming from the mouth of horse into the front side of my shirt. I could feel myself choking. I am feeling that I cannot breathe anymore. Like there is some problem in breathtaking and was giving up hope, but I am stopping my hope that somebody will help us. When a man pushed his way through the crowd, that time a man pushed his way means came to that crowd and said, he was very small person, angry eyes, yeah, he has very angry eyes, glared from a face blackened by cold dust. Glare means to look with stare. Okay, he was staring at me and his face was blackened, made black color by the dust of coal. What is this? He shouted. That means what is this? A dozen replies babbled in the air. That time a lot of replies babbled. Babbled means talked quickly and continuously in an excited and foolish way. When somebody is talking foolish way or excited way, something continuously, it's called a babble. So the replies from crowd, the people, it was babbling, it was speaking continuously, excited or foolishing in the air, in that atmosphere. Can ye no leave the horses alone? Ye means you, horse means horse. So he was asking, can you no leave the horse alone? Why are you crowding here? Cannot you leave this horse alone? He yelled into my face. Yell, scream. He was screaming at, looking at my face. I made no reply. I was saying nothing, being half choked and in no mood for the conversation. So I said nothing because I was half choked. That means I cannot take breath very easily. Like half time I can breathe and half time I cannot. And in no mood for conversation. I am not ready to make a conversation with it. Okay. The coalman turned to the horse. Drop him. Yeah, big leg. Go on. Let go. Drop him. That person, that man said to the horse, drop him. Just leave him. Yeah, big leg. That means a big animal. Leg means calling a big animal with a rude sound. Okay. Go on. Let go. Drop him. Okay, you can drop him. You can leave him. Let us go. Getting no response, he poked the animal in the belly with his thumb. Now he got no reply from the horse. That time he poked that animal in the belly with his thumb. Just poked in the thumb with his thumb on the belly. The horse released me at once. That time the horse released me, left me. Like an obedient dog dropping a bone. Like a dog which is following the instruction of owner. Like that dog will leave the bone when the owner will say. Like that this horse also left me, dropped me when he got the instruction. I fell on my knees and lay in the gutter. I just fell that time on my knee and I laid there in that gutter, that road, for a while, for some time, till I could breathe more easily. Until I can breathe easily, I just laid there. As from a great distance, I could still hear the little man shouting at me. Yeah, from a great distance, from a distant place, now also I can hear the sound that little man making or shouting at me. He was shouting at me for all the reason happened there. Is it clear? Yeah. After some time, I stood up. The coalman was still shouting, and the crowd was listening appreciatively. The small man, the cold man, was still shouting at me, and people are listening what he was shouting. What do you think you are playing at? Keep your hands off my horse. Get the police to you. It is an old English. It's saying that, what do you think you are playing at? What do you think you are playing at? Keep your hands off my horse. Take your hands from my horse. That means no, don't play with my horse. Get the police to you. If not, I will call the police to you. Okay. I felt I must escape and began to push my way through the crowd. I felt that I understood that I just escaped now, and now I am just pushing my way through the crowd to escape. Some of the faces were concerned, but most were grinning. Yeah, some of the faces from that crowd, it was concerned. That means it was worried or it was very tired. But most were grinning. But most of the faces in that crowd, they were smiling widely, like mocking at me. Once clear, I started to walk away. Once, when I just escaped from that crowd, I started to walk away rapidly. Rapidly means very fastly. And as I turned the corner, and when I just turned from the corner, the last faint shout from the coalman reached me. The last faint means tired. The last tired shout of that coalman, it was also reaching to my ears that time. Okay. Is it clear? Yeah. And that last shouting of the old man was, Dinna medalvi things ye can nuthin about. Dinna medalvi things you can nuthin about. It was the last shouting that the coalman made. And the meaning of that shout, don't meddle with things. Meddle with means interfere in a topic, in an issue without knowing anything. So he was saying that don't try to meddle, don't try to interfere in a problem without knowing anything that you know nothing about. If you know nothing about a problem, so never try to involve that problem. Okay, it was the story, and the story is saying that if you don't know clearly about something, don't try to be criticizing that one. Okay, here he was very aware that he was thinking that he know everything that he learned from the class, and he was looking that terms he learned in that horse. So I hope that you understood the chapter very well. Is it right? Yeah. Okay, then please watch the video. If you have any doubt, repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Okay, then thank you everyone. Have a nice day.